Welcome back, guys. So today I'm going to show you an emulator which is called PiEmu, and PiEmu is actually an emulator for the Aquaplus PEC. It's not PED. I actually did a mistake, so my bad. So the Aquaplus PEC is actually a small handheld that runs off of a single AA battery. So it's in some ways it is kind of like the WonderSwan. So let me show you the WonderSwan. So this is the WonderSwan color, and it also runs from a single AA battery. And of course, the WonderSwan later got a successor, which is the WonderSwan color. And let me show you the original shell. So this is the original shell. Unfortunately, it's broken. So yeah. So where was I at? So the Aquaplus PEC actually has, much like the WonderSwan, the original WonderSwan, a black and white screen, as well as a sound chip, which is based upon, I believe, the NEC PC98. So it has multiple sound channels, as well as I believe it's a DMA to play sample files. But I guess it's better to just show you what it is about. So I have to warn you guys. So if you want to use the emulator, you will need a firmware dump of the firmware. Now there are several ways to do this. One, you can either dump it from a real machine, or you can download the latest update executable and extract the firmware from the executable, and then insert your own games in it. So I went with the second way, of course, because the Aquaplus PEC is actually impossible to buy. Like, it's very rare. So unfortunately, if you want to play those games, the only way that most people will be able to is through the emulator. But let me show you why it's worth it to still do that. So when you first run the emulator, you will have basically the firmware itself. So if you have no games, you will get these two icons. But if you added games, then they will be added to the list as well. So I have several games. So let me show you one that I really like. It is like a 3D racing game. Oops. Now, most games will actually allow you to exit back to the original kernel. So let's try another game. So you may know this game if you have played the games on OpenDingux, and that's because there's actually a native port of Spout. But here, this is the original version of Spout. it's fun for a while. Well, I don't really care much for it because it's pretty arcadey, you could say. And yeah, I don't think this game allows you to exit, if I'm wrong. Yeah, it doesn't. So in those cases, you can just press the home button and then go back to playing your games again. So let's say I want to play this one. So yeah, you may hear the audio that is not being perfect. This is one of the few games that actually does not run smoothly on the emulator, at least on OpenDingux. So if you can actually overclock the emulator just a little bit, then you should be able to run all games at 60 FPS. And the ARM core of the original handheld is actually clocked at 24 megahertz, so there is no dynarec or jittered engine. So pretty impressive that it just runs smoothly from an interpreter. Now let me show you how it runs on the GKD Mini. And I won't even bother to overclock it because you will know that it will run pretty much all games perfectly, even including this one. So let me show you. So on the Game Kitty, you can also exit with the L button, and that's really because it doesn't really use like a lot of buttons. So just start, select, D-pad, and A and B. That's it. So I have to mention that. So yeah, I could show you, of course, the free racing game. Right now I'm not overclocked, it's just on the stock speed. And you can also exit with the menu button. So that's pretty much it for the GKD Mini. Now let me show you how it runs on the Funkey. Because the Funkey is actually quite capable. I would say that performance-wise on the CPU, it's a little more powerful than the Nginx GZ4770, but it's less powerful than the sock that's inside the GKD Mini. So let me just lower the brightness. There we go. Maybe actually increase it a little. Alright. So the same step really, except that in this case you won't see the other files because it will just look for the PFI extension. It's a little distorted on the Funkey-S, but that's because really I don't have much of a choice, and the resolution is actually 120 pixels by 88 pixels. So unless I keep like the original aspect ratio, I could do that, of course, but it won't take like the full screen estate. So that's why I decided to just fill up the screen. But of course, I could provide a toggle setting to change that. I'm aware of that. So the sound is a little distorted, but that's because of a firmware issue on the Funkey-S, and unfortunately there's not much I could do about it. And I got stuck. Fun. So let's play another game, of course. So this one. So yeah, it sounds pretty bad, unfortunately. I hope they fix it eventually, but yeah. So again, it runs smoothly here. That's pretty much one of the most CPU intensive game. So now for people that will ask me for a retro firmware version, that will happen because the emulator is simply too demanding for the CPU. So of course there won't be a port for the Big Boy either. So yeah, that's so if you want to actually run the emulator, I will provide the files, sorry, to dump your own firmware. Well, actually not dump the firmware, but extract the firmware from the update executable, and then you can insert your own games. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. So thank you and bye.